Nice. I'm so screwed up. I don't even have the intro right. Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And, of course, we are very proud to be part of the Variety Sports Network. And the show, of course, originates from the Bradshaw Bourbon Studio. Cheers, everyone out there in Steeler land. The Pittsburgh Steelers picked up a 16-10 win over the Cincinnati Bungles. And let me bring Ian in here real quick. There he is. And welcome into the guys. And we'll just get flying today. Lots of stuff to talk about. The offense post Matt Canada. All kinds of wonderful things here, but welcome to everybody that's joining us live, and welcome to everybody that joins us at their own time and leisure when you can by watching on YouTube or just listening to the show on your platform of choice. Anyway, welcome in, guys, and I'm going to start you with a very, very simplistic question tonight. How would you rate Kenny Pickett's performance on Sunday on a scale of 1 to 10? Ben Anderson, go.
Can Scarps go first?
Well, okay. Ryan, just a number. You don't have to explain it yet.
6.75.
6.75. Love it. Love it. Since Ben's eating, I'll go over to Ian.
I was going to say 6.9 because it was nice.
Caught me mid-whiskey.
That was cheesy as fuck.
And Ben, what would you give Mr. Kenneth Pickett?
I'm going to give him 2 grades.
Oh, boy, here we go.
I'm going to give him the, by comparison to what we've seen from Kenny Pickett to this point, the way he played on Sunday was a 10. By comparison to what you want to see out of a franchise quarterback, I give it about a 6.5, 7.
I think you guys are all spot on. I was going to go right in that 6 area, and my reasoning is very simple, and then I'll turn it over to you guys for your explanations. I still think he misses too many open receivers. And what I mean by that is not necessarily guys just running free down the field. I mean, when he throws the ball to a receiver that's open, it's just not accurate. And it's that accuracy's got to improve. And that's just what I'm going at. Scarps, what's your reasoning?
Okay. Anytime Kenny Pickett makes a throw, people have to be like, oh, that's an NFL throw. And I'm like, stop. This dude is a first rounder. Like, he's in game 23 now. Mm-hmm. And now anytime he makes a throw that's half decent, people are like, oh, that's an NFL throw. That's an NFL throw. Please just spare me. Okay. Compared to what we have seen from him, Ben is right. It was so much better than we saw, but he still struggles with pressure. He still spins into pressure. He doesn't step up in the pocket. And I want to say this too. The thing that I like the most about his performance is that he took more risks by throwing the ball in the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. And that to me is so odd because if they gave Matt Canada that much influence on him, that's a very scary thing. So, and is it that, or is it that he finally had Muth back and Muth was healthy? Either way, it's a step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. It's a step in the right direction. But I mean, if you're box score watching it's pedestrian numbers. If you actually watch the game, I think he did some really nice things, but I still see some tendencies that concern me.
Yeah.
Let me get Ian's explanation, and then I'll flip it back up to Ben. Go ahead, Ian.
Oh, yeah. Other than other than me saying it was nice. No, I agree with everything Ryan said. I was really encouraged by some of the throws he attempted, even though they weren't necessarily complete. So, the couple deep balls when he had single coverage on the outside. He hit one to Diontae, but a couple others were incomplete. But I like that they were trying to push back and move the safeties back out of the box to create some room for the running game. The throw to Diontae, which could have been a touchdown, maybe was a touchdown, maybe it was called incomplete on the field, so it wasn't a touchdown in the box score. But I feel like the last few weeks he never would have thrown that ball. Down the numbers between two defensive backs, even though Diontae was open, it was a good throw. But I like that he took the chance and tried to push the ball into the end zone. Like Ryan said, using the middle of the field, using the tight end. But Freiermuth was healthy at the beginning of the season, and they didn't use the middle of the field. So I think it was part of it was, I think, the guys who are calling the offense right now between Mike Sullivan and Eddie Faulkner are kind of playing with house money, because they're not, they can go out and take some risks where somebody who's actually got a job and might be afraid of losing it might have played it more conservative.
It's a theory or idea I haven't heard.
And the other thing I was thinking about too was that without Joe Burrow, the Bengals offense was so shitty that I wonder if they were willing to take more risks over the middle of the field and risk a few turnovers because they knew the Bengals couldn't drive the field on them and score, which they only did once.
I will say Jamar Chase was incredible given what he had to work with, but I agree with what you said about them having an awful, terrible offense. Their offensive line, those tackles are not good.
No. They're on the struggle bus, I think, in more ways than one. And their defense is not good. It's not
their defense is not. They got those two off the ball linebackers are good.
They've got players like every team's got players.
Trey Hendrickson is good, and that's it. I mean, that's all. And the one decent corner they got besides Mike Hilton, who's strictly a nickel, didn't play.
Yeah, he was hurt.
Yeah. So it wasn't a great test, but to answer your question about what I thought, I thought Kenny was a lot more decisive, and that was the thing I liked. That was the thing that jumped out to me this week. It wasn't always right.
Right.
There were some things that I was like, dude, what the fuck? What was that? You missed a guy who's wide open. You threw the ball short. You weren't quite on target. You did something dumb here and spun into pressure, but he was a lot more decisive. He knew where he was going to go with the ball when it was snapped, as opposed to what we saw before. And I talked about this the entire time Canada was the OC this year. There just wasn't any flexibility built into that offense. And the guys came to the line and they're like, okay, this is what we're doing. No matter what we see, this is where we're going to go with it. This is the number, the way the reads are going to be. This is what I see pre-snap. This is the routes you're going to run. There wasn't a whole lot of give. There wasn't a whole lot of, look, here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get 6 yards in this situation.
Right.
All of you need to get this. Before it was just, no, stop thinking. You just do what I tell you.
Some of the comments post game made me and perhaps others think that there was a level of what am I trying to get at here? They felt more relaxed. The offense felt a little bit less on eggshells, and they felt, I think Jaylen Warren even said, like you guys are saying, we felt like we could take some risks that we hadn't before. And when you know you're going to do that, I think you tend to play a little freer. You tend to be a little more excited about what you're doing. So I maybe that's something to do with it. Ian, what did you see in the offense other than just Pickett that made you kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's something that we haven't seen, or that's something that we've seen, but it's been done better?
Yeah, the execution was definitely better. But also just the willingness to throw different routes on the field. Even the in-cut route to George Pickens that he missed, like Kenny really needs to work on throwing slant routes this offseason and learn how to throw them because he's terrible at them. But the willingness to throw that ball over the middle of the field, the passes to Freiermuth aside, but they executed better on third down. They picked up first downs. They didn't have a single 3-and-out this game. That even
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if somebody would have offered you that bet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way the offense had been stagnant and struggled previously, I think, and some of it too, just on the execution standpoint, like Najee Harris ran angry this week. I feel like Najee does better when Jaylen Warren is doing better because he feels like he has something to prove. That when when Jaylen struggles, Najee struggles too. But when, like last week, Jaylen won that, Angry Runs of the Week award, not sponsored by Chipotle, but should be. But Najee,
I would say Taco Bell, but I'll take Chipotle.
Okay. Nevertheless, but Najee ran angry this week, and it led to more yards after contact. And Go ahead, Brian.
The guards played so much better this week.
I would also like to throw some context out there that the Bengals, I think, are 31st in rush defense. They're terrible. I mean,
they're not good.
They're terrible. And Big Ben's burner, I love you, man. But you commented earlier about we're not going to need Pickett to be anything more than a game manager. I love you, man. But if that's what you're thinking right now, you please seek help immediately, because you drafted him 20th overall to only be a game manager. And here's the other thing. How long do you realistically think like TJ Watt is going to play? Like you think he's going to be doing this for the next 10 years? Because he's not. Like, he's not going to be doing that. The Steelers have benefited this year from an opportunistic defense that creates turnovers. And listen, context is very important. Kenny is going to have to win a game with his arm sooner rather than later, and I don't know if he can do that. When is the last time a game manager made it to the Super Bowl?
Brad Johnson,
Trent Dilfer.
Actually, and this is a trick question.
Tom Brady.
No, because even that year he was really good.
Yeah,
Peyton Manning in Denver.
Peyton Manning in 2015.
Peyton Manning in Denver. Okay, that's
in
fair.
2015. But their defense was unbelievable.
Stellar.
100 times better than we think this defense is right now. Because this defense right now really isn't that good. This defense
we'll get into the defense later.
Sorry. Okay. I'm just saying. So Big Ben's murder, I love you, man. I'm just saying that, like, I would hope that you have higher expectations for Kenny Pickett.
Baker Mayfield was not the game manager
like,
or they wouldn't have gotten rid of him.
What are we smoking, man?
Dude, I know.
I don't want to put words in Burner's mouth here, but I'm wondering if what he means is maybe these last 6 games, that's what he's going to have to do, is just manage games. Because I think we all know we just need to go 3-3 and we're in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think we're probably going to go 3-3. But,
I agree.
But setting that aside for a sec, again, what we want to see is not just Kenny be a game manager. I'm not going to say that they need – look, at this point, they can't lean back on Kenny and say, Kenny, you're going to have to win this game for us. Okay, he's not that guy yet. And, yes, they have a good running game, but you can't always count on your run game. Some defensive guy like a Belichick will come along and he'll take away your run game.
Yep.
Because that's what he does. He's really good at taking away one thing and going, hey, I'm going to challenge you to beat me this way. So I don't think he's that guy yet. What we need him to keep doing is what he did on Sunday, which is be more decisive. Even if he's wrong, play decisive, like fucking Duck Hodges did. Because Kenny's a lot more talented than Hodges ever was.
Yeah, Duck was, as we've talked about, he just played.
He was smart and he was fearless and he just fucking played.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. And I think, and we've talked about it on the show, I don't want to belabor the point. The fact that it felt a little like it last week that Canada had been coaching Pickett so conservatively, and last week it was kind of like the straps were off, so to speak, the restraints, and he was able to play a little more like himself. So I don't know, just a thought. I wanted to touch on running backs real quick. Are we at a point now, Ian, where we should really call this a duo running attack, or are we going to still try and say it's one guy and one guy only?
No, it's definitely a tandem backfield. Absolutely. And I mean, you look at the number of carries they've given each guy respectively over the last few weeks, and it's within 3 or 4 carries of each other. Even when it was like 12 and 9, it was still relatively even. And Warren's getting more touches in the passing game than Najee is. So when you look at their total touches, they're almost equal. So yeah, I think it's definitely a tandem backfield, but I think it goes to the coaching a little bit too, that it's not necessarily a running back competition, that they complement each other and they have complementary skill sets, that Warren's not going to be a bruiser and Najee's not going to be elusive, right? Najee's not explosive, but Warren, if you need a yard between the tackles, Najee probably has a pretty good chance of picking that up. So I think you got to use them in the ways that matches their skill sets. But even going back to like what Dallas did last year, like there was that whole debate about Zeke and Pollard, and everyone saying Pollard was better, which he was. But I remember Zeke saying after a game, he was like, look, we set goals for ourselves. We say we want 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. And it doesn't matter if I get 100 and he gets 50, or if he gets 150 and I get 1, right? Like we set a goal for ourselves as a tandem, and this is what we want to do. And I think that's a really good approach to take. I don't know if the Steelers are taking that approach, but I think from a coaching standpoint, that's how these guys should be coached, is this is what we want to produce out of the running game. We don't care who gets the yards, right? Warren was not as effective this week. Najee was. In the benefit of, sorry, one more point to make. The benefit of having 2 guys that are both starter capable is if one guy's having an off day, you can use the other guy more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let me ask you 3 this quick question. Okay. Today, I mean, Najee just had a nice game.
Yep.
But today, do you give Najee that 5th-year option?
And
it's going to be expensive.
Right. And just to follow up on that, Ben, Burner just kind of asked that. I know to that point in the chat.
Well, basically what he said is, do you keep him or do you go back to the draft?
Right. And I think it's a great question.
It depends on what his market is when he becomes a free agent. I do not give him that 5th-year option, because you're talking in the neighborhood of $9 million for a guy that he's just not. No,
I don't think so either.
Big Ben's Burner, I would never want to murder you. I'm saying that ever. No, I would not pick up his 5th-year option, because if you showed me tape and said which one of these guys is a rookie free agent, which one of these guys is a first-round running back, I would say Jaylen Warren is a first-round running back, because he's more explosive, he's more powerful, he's more decisive. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Najee hasn't played better, because he has. And I've been done with him for a long time. He has played well. Now, I want to be real about this. Besides the Browns, they've played some terrible rush defenses. And I saw a stat earlier today that Najee has, I think, the most 15-yard runs this year, which is great. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. But the dude still looks slow as hell. He looks like he's running in mud. And My only thing about it is that Jaylen Warren has only had the most carries he's ever had in a game, I think, is 13. So like we don't necessarily know if Warren could be that bell cow.
Okay,
Ian's
so
killing it tonight.
The fifth-year option is $7 million, about 7.1. So now you know exactly what we're talking about, and that's a projection, but let's just say it's 7.1, 7.2. I'm still out. I don't know about you guys.
What would you do
if it was $4 million? I might roll the dice.
So let me ask this question: other than a fifth-year option, if you offered him like a 3-year deal, but with like a $9 million signing bonus, right? Prorate that out a little bit. You could get out of it after year 1, give him more money than just the fifth-year option would be. Maybe that's worth considering.
I'm looking at it like this. There are so many running backs that are discovered in the middle to late rounds. And of course, we have one we've talked about tonight in Jaylen Warren that wasn't even freaking drafted that I can get for way less money. And I'm not saying it's like easy because you still got to evaluate and everything else. But
I can take that money that I saved and I can invest it in my offensive line.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
The other thing about Najee is there's two things about Najee. Since the start of last year, he has one 100-yard rushing game. And this year, he is worthless in the passing game. The only time he was successful this year was in that Jacksonville game when he got scrubbed garbage time numbers on that final drive.
That's fair.
So, do you really want to pay a running back that much money? And like I said, again, context matters. They have played scrub teams, and this offensive line was supposed to be revamped. It's not. Mason Cole is not good, right? Like they need a center.
They need a center badly, and they need another tackle. Or they just need to move fucking Darnell Washington to where he should be and make him a tackle.
But Mike Tomlin always loves the bell cow. He loves Rashard Mendenhall. He loves Le'Veon Bell. He loves Najee Harris.
Well,
James Conner.
Some fast Willie Parker, but then you have a guy who can be a bell cow, and is Najee that guy? And I thought he was going to be. He's not.
I did too, but he's not.
So
what if he shows up 20 pounds lighter next year, and it's a noticeable difference?
Then they have to decide. But listen, Mark, they have to make this decision in May. They're not going to have a chance to evaluate him.
That's true.
Okay, it's $7 million. He's going to be 27.
Jeez,
he's 25 now. He'll be 26 in March.
Yeah,
he'll be 27 in that 5th year. He'll be 28 at the end of it. I don't give him a 3-year deal instead of the 5th-year option. I'm like, dude, no. I'll give you a 2-year extension and $5 million signing bonus, and here you go. You want this? It's something very, very easy for the team to swallow. Give him some incentives. Maybe, I think he earns them, maybe he doesn't.
The state of the Steelers makes, a good point. If he goes off to free agency, what kind of money is he going to demand? And my answer to that is not much.
It's not going to be $7 million.
Hell no, it's not.
I'll be frank.
No. We thought you were Ben. Don't be frank.
Honestly, though, if you're a running back prospect and you get drafted in the first round, that is literally the best thing that could ever happen to you in your career, because you're guaranteed 4 years and a nice chunk of change. And, we were just talking about, because Dallas is playing right now, but Tony Pollard is actually terrible. Not terrible. Tony Pollard has not met expectations this year.
He's not what he was when Zeke Elliott was there.
Exactly. And
is it just wear and tear though?
Well, he also got hurt. He also got hurt last year on that hip drop tackle and whatever. But Tony Pollard is a 4th rounder, okay? And then the Cowboys got a backup, Dowdle or whatever. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name. Who I don't even know if he was drafted. I'd have to double check that. But then Dallas has Turpin, who's like a specialist, and then they got all these different things. So like the whole running back position, it's not like it was when we were growing up.
No, the word you're looking for
totally different.
The word you're looking for is fungible.
Or athlete. Like it's like
fungible, easily replaced.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm thinking like honestly, you just need some good athletes. You really
this is the whole argument we made when they drafted Najee. And Najee is a great guy based upon every report I've heard ever. He's obviously a smart player. But you don't take a running back in the first fucking round.
No.
You just don't.
That was a
bad decision.
Ryan, I'm gonna throw this to you. And I have no idea how long we'll talk about this, but it's obviously been a big discussion point all week. Back in the day, no, Aaron, I do not want Blake Corum in the first, although he did beat the Buckeyes for the third straight year. In any case, Scarps, you're on the sidelines. You're doing PR for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Your phone starts blowing up. And you've just been told, man, that's a bad look. Diontae Johnson didn't do jack squat on that play. What is going through the PR mindset right then? Because it's gonna be an issue in the post game. So how do you guys go about dealing with that?
I mean, I wouldn't have said it to anybody, but seeing that, I would have immediately said, fuck. Like, right. I mean, like that was such an inexcusable play.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about the touchdown that he had and just didn't like, never mind the fact that he fucking he should have held on to the ball. Let's be real right now. Anyway, but that whole sequence, and go back and watch the play. It was a run play on third and short, and he didn't even engage the defensive back.
Nope.
He was fucking so sad and so pathetic.
He was pouting.
And he was a boob, and the ball was on the ground, and he was literally in the vicinity and didn't give a fuck. And I don't mean that he didn't give a fuck in that he did it on purpose. I just mean that his head wasn't in the game.
No.
And then it took, Connor Hayward to make a nice heads-up play and make that tackle. Mason
Cole nearly ran him over.
Those are, that's it. I mean, I didn't think of this now, but since you drew the question, anytime there was a really shitty play or unfortunate play in a game, I always knew that you have to go to that guy at the end of the game, regardless of win or loss.
Why I asked that question.
Regardless of win or loss, and say, now if it's Roethlisberger, no, because he knows he was a veteran, but the veterans, and there were other veterans, but anytime it was a younger guy or a guy that wasn't in the league that much, you always wanted to go up to him after the game and make sure that they knew what kind of questions were coming. Hey, they're going to ask you about that fumble. They're going to ask you about that drop touchdown.
Absolutely.
Diontae's not some new guy. He drafted in 2019. Yes, drafted in 2019. I mean, it's not like he's a rookie or a second-year guy. I mean, he knows better, and he knows better not only on the field, but he also knows better media-wise.
Yeah, he's been around long enough to know.
And not everybody's.
He hates dealing with the media, though. I get the sense he really, really hates it.
Well, listen, I'm an asshole. Not everybody's an asshole like me. I'm just being honest. I'm not. Not everybody. Not everybody likes.
Don't sell yourself short, Scarp. You're a tremendous asshole.
Thank you. Thanks, Judge. Appreciate you, Judge. But these. I'm very fortunate to have worked there when I did because there was a ton of veterans. But I made it a point every time we had a rookie class to teach them the ropes, that the media might look like the enemy, but it's actually your friend. You can use them to your advantage. You can't control the questions that you're asked, but you can control your responses. And I would bring up, there are guys, that win media awards for their relationships with the media, but then also, dude, maybe set yourself up for a career after football. And I know that's not a conversation that people want. So anyway, but then when Diontae does these media scrums or whatever, I don't know, he looks disinterested, and you don't have to knock it out of the park every time. But I've always said this: optics is everything. Yeah. And you can
in PR, fuck yeah.
You can literally mold it and spin it any way you want. And that's why I laugh about the whole Tomlin thing, because I'm telling you, if Tomlin was more open to the media and he was more outgoing and engaging, people would still be upset about the lack of playoff success, but they would absolutely be more open to him not having a losing season ever. And I look at it as, look at Juju. Remember when Juju's bike got stolen? Remember that?
Oh yeah.
And everyone was like, "Oh my God, find this fucking dude his bike. He's such a nice guy. He says all the right things. He plays our." But then he did like Corvette TikTok, and Von Bell blew him up, and everyone was like, "Get him out of here." But so there's like a delicate balance. Yeah. There's a delicate balance, and the bottom line is you're never going to win a fight with the media. So you might as well play nice, and use them to your advantage. And the more likable you come across, the more people look past that when you fuck up.
And that's exactly why I went to you, because I wanted your take on it. Because as soon as I saw the replay of that, and then of course it was blowing up on social media, I thought immediately of the PR, because they're gonna have to deal with this. And of course he didn't handle it real well afterwards. Now he apologized midweek. And for me,
Wednesday, right?
Yeah. For me, it's done. And we'll see how he responds on the field.
Yep.
But I'll ask you this: is he a Pittsburgh Steeler next year?
I think so. We'll see.
1 year left on his deal.
I think, and this is one of the things I was kind of alluding to earlier. I think that he doesn't like dealing with the media. I don't think that it's. I don't think he's comfortable. I think he's not at all comfortable with a mic in his face. He doesn't like being in the spotlight in that way.
Right.
He can be out on the field and be a guy that, everybody's cheering for, and that's all well and good.
Yep.
But he doesn't like being under the microscope with the media, and he becomes very introverted when he's dealing with them. He becomes very soft-spoken.
Yeah.
And he looks down, he doesn't make eye contact, and he's not really looking at anybody. He's just talking, and Scarp says he looks disinterested. And I think that a lot of people are going to perceive it as such, or they're going to perceive him as being dumb. I just don't think he likes dealing with the media. I really don't. And he's not in his comfort zone at all there. So he's never going to be a guy that everybody likes, because he's not a guy like Cam who can speak to the media and use the media and get the media on his side. He ain't that guy. And I don't
Cam
think
is
that guy.
He's setting himself up for that career much in the same way Ryan Clark did.
He's not as good as Ryan was, but he's
good.
No,
I don't think so either. Not right now. Maybe,
but he's good. And and Diontae is never going to be that guy. No. He just isn't.
No.
So is he a Steeler next year? If he doesn't fuck up again like he has a number of times. Optics is a lot. You want to have people rooting for you. It's also, you got to look at what he's making. The guy makes $17 million a year.
Yeah.
When you make that kind of money, you gotta deliver. You gotta bring in some results.
Before I get your answer, Ian, we have some breaking news. I understand the goaltender for the Penguins scored tonight.
He did.
Wins.
Yes. Tristan Jarry had a goal
What is
against
that,
Tampa.
like the 17th or 18th time in the history of the league that's happened?
How the fuck did he do that?
Kudos to I haven't seen the replay. I just
it's glorious.
And hey, awesome for him.
Yes.
Ian, what is your take?
Was it an empty netter or was there a goalie in there?
It was an empty netter.
Okay.
Yeah. What is your take on the Diontae Johnson thing? Starting with what you saw and then where we are now.
Yeah, so we'll go start to finish on this. So Mark knows I had a strong take on this, so he saved me for last. So
I was really expecting Ryan to come out a little harder toward Kenny, but he didn't. So whatever. Not as much of a hater.
Starting with the play on Sunday, that afterwards, after the game, when he was asked about it, he was like, I don't know, I was blocking or whatever, I was supposed to do. It was a lot more whatever than blocking because he didn't even try and block. But nevertheless, okay, I get it. He claimed he didn't see the fumble, all that. Maybe he didn't see it. Let's say he didn't see it, right? But at some point, you're one of 11 guys on the field.
Yeah.
If you watch the replay, he turns back to the sideline and sees Bengals players running up the field with the ball in their hands and Steelers guys chasing them. At some point, doesn't something in your head go, oh shit, maybe I should run after them and chase them a little bit and at least try, right?
That's why I said Mason Cole nearly ran him over.
Yeah, okay, I understand not having your head in the game, but at some point, all 11 guys on the field have to be cognizant enough to be like, if there's guys running the other way, maybe I shouldn't just stand around like my controller's unplugged. So there's that. The second
did he? No, I'm not defending him. I'm asking a question. I agree with you. I would have chased him anyway because you don't know. The whistle hasn't been blown. You play through the whistle. It doesn't matter. This is the way we were always taught. You play through the fucking whistle no matter what's going on. But did he think that Warren was down and this wasn't a thing?
Maybe he did, but with the way instant replay is, you never know. And
right.
If you didn't hear a whistle, then you got to try.
You play. I agree with you.
Other guys on your team chasing someone with the ball, something in your head should go, hey, I need to snap into action and do something here.
Yeah. Other than walk to the sideline.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Second point about Diontae's contract and the question of whether or not he's a Pittsburgh Steeler next year. If they let's start first. He has a $3 million roster bonus due March 20th. So if they're going to make this decision on him, it's going to be before the draft and it's going to come quickly. But if they cut him,
hypothetically,
hold on, let me finish my sentence. If they cut him, it's $5.5 million in dead money and $10 million in cap savings.
They're not doing
so.
They would trade him, but let's just say hypothetically, the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl or they go to the Super Bowl and they want to trade you the 31st or 32nd pick for Diontae Johnson. Do you take it?
Yes.
I don't even hesitate.
Yes.
I agree. The Steelers are really fucking good at picking wide receivers.
Yeah.
I take that pick and go, Diontae, best of luck to you, buddy.
Yeah. Well, and it's you go back to our pre-draft shows and what we've talked about for years now, and even going back to some of our shows about free agency, that the receivers on the free agent market are not only competing against each other for free agent dollars, they're competing against the receivers in the draft because college receivers now are so talented and so able to come out and step right into offenses in the NFL that wide receivers almost trending towards being the next running back, that teams are getting to the point where they're like, I can trade away a receiver and not have to pay him and go draft somebody like Puka Doncic that the Rams got in the 4th or 5th round, and
trademark that. Trademark that.
We need to get that on a shirt.
That was Ryan. That was Ryan's thing, not mine. I just stealing off him.
What the hell was his name? Actually, though, Puka what?
Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua.
Ryan has a point, and then I've got a final one on Diontae.
No, I go. No.
Okay.
I'll go last.
All right. My problem with Diontae Johnson is
that you're a hater.
Yes. Not the drops. The drops bother me. They annoy me.
Sure.
It's the fact that he held out of camp or held in, whatever it was there but didn't practice, right? He held out for more money, said in the media he would have held out and missed games if he hadn't gotten a contract, demanded a big money deal, got the highest dollar value on a per year contract a Steelers receiver ever got at $18.5 million per year. And just like makes these dumbass plays. Like, he has no situational awareness of, it seems like he catches the ball and wants to get out of bounds as soon as possible. Or when there's like under 2 minutes in a running clock, then he decides to run upfield and try and get extra yards and get tackled in bounds when he actually should run out of bounds. There's been multiple times throughout his career where he's run backwards and we haven't gotten a first down, where if he had just fallen forward,
noise
play
fuck out of me, dude, just get up the field.
Yes,
he runs
that play
backwards
earlier in the game
sometimes.
Sunday. It looked like he was purposefully running backwards.
It's that situational awareness of, like, you need to know down and distance and where the sticks are and what you need to do to get a first down. Like, those simple things. If you're going to hold out to demand more money and get the highest dollar value the Steelers have ever paid a receiver, you got to deliver on the field like a number one receiver. And he just doesn't deliver consistently. That catch he made down the sideline on the go ball was a very nice catch. It was a hard catch in traffic with a guy's arm all over him. Kenny made a nice throw to lead him and let him catch it on the run. But, like, you got to do that stuff more consistently if you want paid $18.5 million a year. It just is what it is, right? Yep. If he was a rookie and made that mistake on Sunday with, like, the fumble and not paying attention, I could excuse it. But it's almost that, like, you do it once, it's a mistake. You do it twice, you do it 3 times, then it becomes a habit. And now all of a sudden, like, it's the same mistakes over and over again. The same, like, lack of awareness for a guy who refused to practice and play because he thought he was worth so much money. So that's my problem with him. It started with the holdout.
Do you expect? And Johnny asked this question before, so I'm going to phrase it.
Johnny.
Fuck you, Johnny. So after the embarrassment of Sunday, do you expect him to come out and make a better effort after he had to apologize to his teammates? Do you expect him? You have to frame it around the fact that he got into an argument, a scuffle, if you will, with Minka the Sunday before
in Cleveland. Yep,
in Cleveland. Then he comes out and plays like shit because he's pouting in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. Then he has to humble himself and apologize to his teammates. Do you expect a better effort this week out of Diontae Johnson?
Can I go?
Starps.
I have defended him more so than others, and I've always attributed it to coaching. And I look at this right now and I say, okay, his wide receivers coaches were Darryl Drake, passed away.
Yep.
Ike Hilliard, who wasn't the best coach, but won a Super Bowl with the Giants, played in the league a long time. Now he's got Frisman Jackson. And then above all, even though he's not an offensive-minded coach, Mike Tomlin was a wide receiver. Yet we see the same repeated behavior from Diontae. He runs backwards, no situational awareness.
Yep.
He quits on plays or pouts on plays. And then I sit there and think that, this is year 5 and he's still doing the same stuff. This team might not draft corners well and draft and develop corners well, but this team is unbelievable at finding wide receivers.
Yeah.
After the, even first round or even after the first round,
mm-hmm.
that do well. And, I don't wish him any ill will or anything like that, but I'm going to say it.
Uh-oh.
You don't win with guys like this.
That was my biggest takeaway, Scarps, is I wondered what was going to happen in the locker room. Because there's going to be guys on a 53-man roster who are going to see that video and they're not going to like it.
Well, luckily they won.
Yes, winning cures a lot of things.
Winning solves a lot of wounds.
Yes, it does. You're correct.
Now, if they had lost the fucking game,
yep,
and that had happened, yeah, for sure, they would have been like, dude, what the fuck? Because Diontae's justification for what he did in Cleveland was, I want to win. I'm a passionate player.
Mm-hmm.
I came in. It was a game I felt like we should have won. We didn't.
Right.
I had some things I wanted to say. Minka didn't think they were appropriate, but I wanted to say them because I want to win. And then the next week he does this shit. So he's cognizant. He's aware of what the perception of him might be.
I think he has to be.
So he had to stand up in front of his teammates, at least in front of the offense, and say, "I'm sorry. That was a terrible look. I apologize, and that won't happen again. I'm sorry."
The one other go ahead.
No, Ian, go. Ian, go last.
The one other thing I was going to say was Diontae. It's not like he's a rookie. He's 27 years old. He's the 5th oldest guy on the offense. The only guys older than him are Sayamalu, Robinson, and our 2 backup quarterbacks, Trubisky and Rudolph. So, like, you need him. We're so young on offense. You need him to be a leader in that locker room and a leader, especially in that wide receiver room. Cause like Allen Robinson, they brought in for a year, right? Yeah. So, and kind of brought in because they didn't have a veteran leader in that wide receiver room.
Ian, do you think he stood up and apologized because he's a leader or because he was told he probably should?
Probably because he was told.
Burner's comment.
Pat McGroin from the University of Phoenix.
Online.
He's actually played for the Cardinals on Sunday.
Probably scored 3 TDs too.
I
want to close this up. I want to talk a little defense, if we can do that. Scarps, did you have a last comment?
It was just more along the lines of what Ian said.
Okay.
When you have when Roethlisberger was here, Roethlisberger, we've all agreed wasn't the best leader, but the dude was here forever. He was in the league forever, and just him being there, sort of commanded a respect and presence.
He was also pretty fucking good at football.
Well, no, obviously I know that. I'm just saying that, but I'm just saying that, this is a very young team, and
it is
when a guy like Diontae, who's a veteran on this team, is making these mental errors and repeatedly makes these mental errors, it just doesn't send a positive message to anybody.
Ian, how good is the Pittsburgh Steelers defense? I know that's a very broad question.
That's paint with a broad brush. You've got red paint.
Thank you, red. Coach Tomlin.
They are a bend but don't break unit. They have consistently come up with turnovers in the red zone that have saved their season. That interception that Trenton Thompson had, I think I tweeted, they just saved their season with that interception, because if the Bengals had scored there, I don't know if we would have won that game.
The Bengals.
Bengals.
We've had some drinks, to go back to the old motto of our previous motto of our show.
Was that right after the fumble, or was that?
No, that was in the third quarter. Yeah, it was in the third quarter. But at any rate, that interception definitely turned that game around. And so they've consistently come up with big plays when they needed to, but that's not necessarily a sustainable model. I mean, this is not the 2008 defense that's going to shut people down.
No,
this is not even the 2010 defense. This is not even the 2017 defense that was really freaking good until Ryan Shazier got hurt. So it's okay. Weird things seem to happen, though, that they make good halftime adjustments, and it seems like teams can move the ball on them, especially in the first quarter. But this happened last year too, right? Like that game against Miami just picked them apart the first 2 drives down the field. And then they made a couple adjustments, and Miami really didn't do anything the rest of the game. They started taking away Tua's first read, and he's not real good after you take away his first read, because he likes to throw in the middle of the field to that first look. which he does very well. Actually, he's got 2 really good receivers. But nevertheless, they make good adjustments, and especially at halftime and coming into the second half, they've been a lot better. But I think our perception of them gets shaded a little bit by what happens at the beginning of games, and because this team winds up playing from behind, and because the offense has been so dreadful that it's like, well, the offense isn't doing anything, and the defense, we're down 7-0 or we're down 10-3. Are we ever going to get back in this thing? So they're not horrible. They're not the worst unit in the league, but damn, I miss Brian Flores. Like, I feel like I'm the Wolverine with the with the picture meme. I'm like, Flores, please come back.
I was looking at the snap counts this week.
Yeah,
we only played 43 snaps on defense.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Players,
when you have
the players about that. They played 21 in the first half.
Yeah, that's incredible.
They played 21 snaps in the first half, and
I wasn't a math major, but that would be 22 in the second half.
They were they were very well rested coming out for the second half, and talked about it before the half started, and they were psyched.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been 1 or 2 games they've had 43 plays in the first half.
Yeah.
And I mean, that matters. Scarps, I purposefully was kind of holding you for last on this one.
No, but go ahead. Sorry.
You're good. I'm responding to a comment here.
Go ahead, Ben.
What's wild about it, and I agree, Ian, is that if is it Thompson? I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Trenton Thompson, I think.
Yeah. I almost called him Tristan Thompson, but Khloe Kardashian is not in the chat. So
you know what, Scarps? She might be. Let's just put it. Half the time we don't know.
So if Thompson doesn't pick that ball off, I don't know if we win that game.
I don't either. It's a fair take.
But that's where we're at right now. And even though Pickett played better and we're running the ball better, I have zero faith in this offense, even with Canada gone. The Steelers are 2-4 this year against teams with a winning record. They have played some very bad defenses over the past 4 weeks. Over the past 4 weeks, they've played 3 bad defenses and 1 good defense, and they're 3-1. I mean, we're like, I'm not a hater. I'm literally just looking at this and watching the games and saying that, okay, the Bengals defense is terrible. They were 30th in pass defense and rush defense, and we still only put up 16 points. I do not give a shit if we have 10,000 yards and only have 3 points. And I'm pretty sure that's not mathematically possible. However, I want to make this clear. Since 2010, teams that have had at least 400 yards in a game but scored 16 points or less are 69, very nice, and 1. Listen. 9, 69, and 1 since 2010 if you have 400 yards in a game but less than 16 points. The Steelers have 2 of those 9 victories.
Unbelievable.
So even when they do win, it's fucking mathematically not in their favor. And this, Big Ben's burner, if they traded for Justin Herbert, dude, I'd be thrilled because Brandon Staley needs to be fired, and they are wasting Justin Herbert's talent there. Anyway,
I would love it too, because I live in the middle of Oregon. I live in Northwest Oregon, and I'm surrounded by Ducks fans, and I hate the Ducks.
Is that a territory still?
But
is that a
territory? But
there's a trail that goes there.
I hate the fucking Ducks.
Which went through Pittsburgh. Just saying.
Hey.
Check out the Heinz History Center. But my point is, this defense.
My oxen died of dysentery.
This defense at Fort Collins. This defense has faced a decent to better quarterback this year 4 times. They lost to Brock Purdy. They lost to C.J. Stroud. They beat Lamar Jackson, which is a divisional game, and the Ravens also dropped 3 touchdowns. And then They lost.
They had 8 drops and they
Trevor,
turned the ball over fucking 3 times. They beat
they
themselves.
They lost to Trevor Lawrence. And here's the thing about it. Drink the Kool-Aid all you want, but if this team will probably make the playoffs, and that first round game is not going to be a gimme. It's going to be on the road.
Yep.
And I'm expecting a 17-point loss or more.
In the 6 remaining games,
It depends on who they play.
They're going to face obviously Kyler Murray. They're going to face Gardner Minshew. They're going to face Zappy or Mac Jones. Who the hell knows? Maybe Steve Grogan.
Hopefully Mac Jones.
They're going to face Geno. They're going to face Lamar Jackson again. I mean, do you guys need to see a win against Lamar Jackson again to think we have a chance in that first round where we're going to be playing against a good quarterback? I don't know. I'm at a loss. Man, I think we go 3-3 down the stretch here.
I'm more concerned about the quality of defense that we play than I am the quality of the quarterback. Because this defense seems to come up. They take a lot of chances, okay? They do. They take a lot of chances, which is why they get gouged for big yards sometimes. But they also make big plays consistently. They seem to tighten up in the red zone very well. I want to say they've allowed the 3rd fewest touchdowns in the league this year. I saw that the other day. I was like, what? And then I looked it up and I was like, okay, yeah, they have actually. So they seem to tighten up in the red zone. They get a lot of turnovers in the red zone. They take a lot of chances all over the goddamn field, which is a little bit maddening, but okay. They're not allowing a lot of points, 18.6 per game. So I'm more concerned about the quality of defense that we play because, frankly, our offense ain't that good. It just isn't. And to answer whoever's question, I think it was Burner. Is quarterback the biggest issue for the Steelers right now? Yes, it is. Because the quarterback is the linchpin. And if your quarterback is really good, he can carry you. And when he really isn't, he can be the anchor that the team is towing around on the ground, trying to get things going. Right. And right now, we don't have that quarterback. It's not quite as frustrating. Okay, it is pretty goddamn frustrating. But we have a running game at least. So it's not quite as frustrating as watching Mason and Duck Hodges try to, trudge through 2019, which was fucking awful. But it was situational. I mean, they honestly, they didn't have as good a situation as Kenny does now, in my opinion. They didn't have a great line then, but they also didn't have a running game, and they were asked to try and win some games, and they just didn't. So
I did. You'll have to forgive me because I did miss a very important topic tonight, and that, of course, is what are we drinking? Burner reminded me. So, Ben, what are you enjoying tonight during the show?
I'm drinking Jubal as usual. Johnny doesn't like it this year because he's a pussy. And I'm drinking some Redemption bourbon.
Okay.
Flask bottle.
Delicious. Yes. Delicious. Yep. Scarps, what do you got going tonight?
I got the ranch water, margaritas, and prickly pears, babe.
I think our man card just got punched.
I know.
Prickly pear.
What the fuck?
Ian, please tell me you're not drinking prickly pear.
That I got Johnny, and you're going to be.
Who doesn't like fucking pears? Like, do I judge you because you think Kenny Pickett is fucking better than Big Ben?
Yes. I do not think Kenny Pickett's better than Big Ben, first off. And second, yes, you judge me all the fucking time.
I've actually
Haley.
never. Who's Haley?
All right. Daily.
Anyway, I thought you said
Haley. You fucking
what are you
judge
drinking
me
tonight?
daily.
So
fuck you, Johnny.
I have some Helltown Brewing Oktoberfest from Helltown Brewery in Export, Pennsylvania, which is just slightly east of Murraysville and Monroeville out that way. Yeah. And I also have some Old Overholt straight rye whiskey that I'm drinking. So
nice.
Making up for Ryan.
I love the bonded, the old Overholt bonded rye.
Yeah, it's really the 100 proof. Yeah, it's really good.
It's delicious.
Did you know the history of the Old Overholt Brewery?
Here we go.
That Abraham Overholt was the grandfather of Henry Clay Frick, and Frick, Andrew Carnegie, and one other guy bought out the whiskey distillery and owned it until Prohibition. And then after Prohibition, basically just like sold off the recipe. I think Jim Beam Distillery is the one who who distills it now, but they're still using the old recipe.
That is freaking cool.
Yeah.
So hey, Claude, all the Steelers have to do is just win out, right? No problem. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they just beat them. Right. They just hung 16 on one of the worst defenses in the league and beat a backup quarterback. But yeah, they're going to win out.
I did get a brand new bottle of Bradshaw bourbon, but I'm going to wait to crack back into that. We're supposed to be getting some stuff very soon.
Boozy stuff that we can give away.
Possibly. I don't want
to. I'll be really honest.
I'm still waiting.
Really give a shit about you three getting anything. What I want is for the listeners and viewers to get stuff.
They're very deserving.
Yeah. I don't care about you three.
But I'm also drinking a Great Lakes Hazecraft.
Hazecraft.
It's a very nice hazy IPA there. All right. I did want to mention
some bourbon to our listeners. I mean, I just want to say, like, you guys who tune into this show, we have done shows on like a Tuesday night, on a Friday night, on a Thursday night, in the middle of the summer. You guys are incredible. Like, you guys tune in to listen to us assholes.
It's truly
talk.
Amazing.
It is. Like, we love you guys.
It's like the rest of the bar stopping what they're doing and paying attention to the four assholes at the end of the bar.
Right.
Who you know, and it's amazing.
That's why I don't care whether or not you guys get anything from Bradshaw Bourbon. I would prefer that we just gave everything away. So just gave all of it away to the listeners / viewers that are here every week, because they're so much more deserving than you fucking three dickheads.
Yeah, and we'll do we got to do some shirt giveaways too with so you can get our mugs.
Damn right.
On the front.
Oh yeah, this shirt that has
that shirt right there. You damn well know, all of you know, you want those four faces on a shirt.
That's the biggest. That's the biggest obstacle to selling those shirts, is that our faces are
exactly. On it. Yeah. Feel free to color those in. I want to talk about one more thing before we get to our predictions for this week coming up against the Cardinals.
Are we going to talk about the Cardinals at all?
We haven't yet, but we're going to get there.
Okay.
In fact, you know what? Let's do that right now. Let's talk about the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is back from his surgery. James Conner is kind of returning home, if you will. The Cardinals are 2-9, I believe.
But they've been feisty. They've been in a lot of their games and just haven't won them. So
right, and they played pretty well under Dobbs before he got shipped out.
Yeah, they've been close. And let's not forget, I think
you beat the Cowpies.
Yeah,
we did.
Somebody mentioned this on Twitter. I don't remember if it was Burner or somebody else, so I'm sorry if I'm stealing Burner's joke. But like, the new Call of Duty came out like 2 weeks ago, so Kyler Murray's already played through it, so he may actually be more focused this week on the game than
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Burner, if that was you said it better on Twitter than I did, but I'm really
yeah, he has a little penchant for skipping the tape, if you will, and playing some video games. Anyway, I you know, we'll get into the predictions in a little bit, but Scarps, you said something that really surprised me this week. You said you thought the Steelers were going to have to score at least 20, 24 points to win on Sunday.
24-27 is what he said.
We're not going to get into predictions just yet, but you really think they're going to score that much?
He said that we needed to. He didn't say we were going to. He said we need to.
Yeah, I just have a hunch this week, and we talked about the defense earlier, being opportunistic. That this is Kyler Murray's 4th game back, I believe. You got a James Conner revenge game. That's about it. You got a James Conner revenge game, but Hollywood Brown is solid. McBride has played really well with Murray. Michael Wilson is another guy. Greg Dortch is another good talented receiver. The Steelers defense, and then Kyler Murray can run. He can run.
Yes.
And also, Patrick Peterson couldn't just shut his fucking mouth, could he? He talked about Kyler Murray scared the pocket. He didn't have that height advantage. And as we've said on the show, bulletin board material is real. It is real. And I could picture Kyler Murray making some nice throws, extending some plays with his legs. And yeah, I really do think the Cardinals are going to put up some points this week, which will force the Steelers to score more than 16.
All right. Well, we'll get to the predictions shortly.
17?
I did want to real quick, and I know Ben's take on this because he's had it for many, many years. And my question is not whether Hines Ward gets in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, here we go.
It's, do you believe he's worthy of getting into the Hall of Fame? That's my question. Ian, is he worthy of getting in the Hall of Fame, whether or not he ever does?
Oh, boy. All right. I've said this for a while on the show, and I'm going to stick with it. I don't think Hines Ward will get in as a modern era candidate. I think he gets in. I think he may get in eventually, but it's either in one of those like special years where they let extra guys in, like what they did for the 100th anniversary of the NFL or things like that, where they're like, oh, there are these historic guys that we kind of missed along the way. There's just, with the explosion of passing games, there are too many guys that have better stats than him, and it's going to be a hard sell in that room of beat writers to get him the votes he needs to get in when you're comparing him with the likes of like an Andre Johnson or a Reggie Wayne or Marvin Harrison's already in, but was kind of a contemporary, played at the same time, right? Yep. That, those kind of guys, a lot of his contemporaries, now you're getting into the Megatron, the, Torrey Holt, those kind of guys that Torrey Holt's already into. But you know what I mean, though, right? All these guys that had better stats than him.
Yep.
Better yards per reception, more yards. He had 1,000 catches. He had 12,000 yards. Those are great stats. And he brought a lot to the table as just a pure football player. He is my favorite Steeler of all time.
Goddamn right.
But because to me, he just personified that attitude of what it meant to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Like, I didn't see the 70s guys play, so like I probably would have been all about, the Jack Lamberts and Jack Hams of the world. But to me, in my era, as the one of the younger guys on the show, not like you two old fucks above me, that
Jack Lambert. I wanted to be him when I was a little kid.
Oh yeah. Well, but nevertheless, I think it's so hard. It's like we talked about James Harrison last year. There's so many guys that have more sacks than him, the DeMarcus Wares, everybody else, that it's a hard case to make. Actually, I think Harrison has probably a better case being defensive player of the year. Yeah, Hines has the Super Bowl MVP, but Harrison being the defensive player of the year probably has a better case than Hines does to actually get in.
Okay. And also having the Steelers career sack record for a period of time.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Well, I mean, Hines still has the receptions and yardage record because Antonio Brown went insane. If he had stayed a year longer, he would have broken both of those records.
That's true.
He just lost his friggin' mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Scarps, is Hines Ward worthy?
Yeah, he's worthy, but unfortunately, he plays at a position that everybody wants to play, and he doesn't necessarily have the stats to back it up.
Okay.
And that is not a knock on his stats. That is not a knock on his stats. I'm just simply saying that if he had played with a better quarterback early on in his career, absolutely, I think he would.
It was still a run-first offense, though. At that point,
it was. It was.
No. Okay. Should I say that if his rookie year was 2001 or 2, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, my point being is that like this is like Mike Tomlin had a really, really good point this week, and I have said this on this show. Look at the tape. Casey's going to talk about that there in a little. But look at the tape. Hines Ward is a football player first, and that deserves credence, Clearwater Revival, and that deserves recognition. I want to talk about this, and Mike Tomlin brought up John Lynch. When he talked about this. And yeah, I agree. John Lynch is a Hall of Famer. I'm going to look at another guy who has numbers not even okay. I'm going to look at a guy who has numbers not even as good as John Lynch that's in the Hall of Fame. That's Steve Atwater. And those guys were both.
Steve Atwater in his era, though, was the guy. He was the safety everyone was afraid of.
And it was a different era.
Here's my point, is these guys were both 6'2", 6'3", 220-ish.
Right.
But they played.
But nobody was afraid of John Lynch.
But okay, can I fucking finish? You say I come. I'm just gonna say this. Let me fucking finish. They played a position.
Can I finish? Can I finish, please? Can I finish? It's my Ross Perot.
They played a position that is not so desired, and when you play a position that is not so desired or glamorous, there's not necessarily the same sort of parameters. Oh, God damn you, Benjamin. They don't like yes, Hines Ward should be in the Hall of Fame, but because he played the wide receiver position, he's not going to get in right away. God, you're a dick. Fuck you.
Sorry.
I hate you. Just kidding.
No, it was me.
There were a lot of great wide receivers. Hines, is he worthy? I'm going to preface this with saying that Hines is one of my favorite Steelers of all time, and he's going to be an all-time Steeler forever. The guy played his fucking ass off, and he, as Ian put it, he personified what it was to be a Steeler. Yeah. But he made the absolute most of his talent. The guy came out every day, just played his ass off, and all he wanted to do was win. That was it. But was he ever regarded as the best wide receiver at anything other than downfield blocking? No.
Hines's best ability was to always know where the first down sticks were and get past them. I mean, he had that.
Okay, so he was a good possession wide receiver. Yeah, How many possession wide receivers other than Art Monk are in the Hall of Fame?
Steve Largent.
Andre Reed.
Steve Largent wasn't a possession wide receiver. Neither was Andre Reed.
No, I thought Largent was.
Largent wasn't. He had great hands, but
guys that have similar numbers.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying similar numbers. I mean, in their era, by comparison to the colleagues that they had during that era, was Hines regarded as being the best at anything at his position other than being a downfield blocker?
Did an opposing defense have to game plan for Hines Ward?
But yeah, fuck yeah, they did. Because they hated his fucking guts. They wanted to kill him because he would throw fucking blocks. Yeah. He would throw blindside blocks. And there was a rule that was put in. And that's one of the reasons the Steelers fans are like, he changed the game. They had to change the rules for him. So he should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. Well, okay. But they put that rule in because guys kept getting injured, and they put it in because they regarded what he was doing as a cheap play by a smaller guy on bigger guys because he had an advantage with the angle, and so he took it, and he injured a lot of players, so they changed the rule because of Hines, yes. But that's not going to be something that Hall of Fame voters are going to look at and go, yeah, we should definitely bring this guy in, especially when, as Ryan has pointed out, there is so much competition
and
at the wide receiver position. It's really, 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 did I say really? Fucking hard to get in as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah.
The guys, the Randy Mosses of the world, that is the rare exception. Most guys that get in at wide receiver are not first ballot guys. Okay? Marvin Harrison wasn't a first ballot guy. Marvin fucking Harrison. And he was amazing.
Larry Fitz.
He also may have
first
murdered
ballot.
a guy, but you know.
Larry Fitz will be a first ballot. I agree with you.
Marvin Harrison almost murdered a guy?
Yeah, he did. There was that. There was
stories.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ray Lewis is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
So. That's true.
I actually didn't know that. Maybe I did.
But again, it's just really fucking hard to get in at wide receiver. It really is, man. Yeah. I mean, T.O., who I think is a piece of shit, and I think that the media purposely punished him because he was an asshole to all of them. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. But the guy was a fucking dick. So they made him wait, and I'm kind of hoping to do the same thing to AB.
We're not going to get into that tonight because we've had whole episodes on the AB.
Steelers got the Cardinals coming in this week, 1:00 kickoff on Sunday. Ian, are you going to be in attendance at that one?
I am. Yes, this will be the last game this year we're going to. So
very good, very good. Yes. And so therefore, I will start with you. What do you got for a final score this week as the Steelers host the Cardinals?
Oh, boy, you know what? I usually look up the over/under on these things before I make my predictions, so I should probably do that.
I saw this and now I forgot it.
Yeah,
I don't know what the over/under is. What is it?
I don't know. I'm looking it up. That's why I said Are you
going to share it with the whole class or not?
Yes, I will share it with the whole class once I find it. All right. So the line on this game. Oh wow, the over/under is actually 41.5, which is
wow.
Take the under.
My goodness. Like last week it was like 32.
Said no.
I think last week wasn't it like 32 and we still hit the under?
Yes.
Like it was something insane like that.
Yeah. No, it was 36.
Okay.
All right.
Still over 40 for a Steelers game is wild. Like I said earlier, this Cardinals team has been feisty. I think they're definitely capable of moving the ball between the 20s. I don't know, other than McBride, if they have guys that can make plays in the red zone to punch it into the end zone. And McBride's a pretty good tight end. I like what they've got in him. And James Conner revenge game, yes, but James Conner's also been a little injury prone throughout his career. So you never know. Yeah, you just never know. But I do kind of agree with Ryan that I think Arizona is going to put up some points. But if there's any game this year where we face a defense shitty enough to let us score 30 points, this might be it. So I'm actually going to say Steelers 31.
Ooh.
Cardinals 16.
Wow.
You mean we'll be able to breathe in the fourth quarter?
Oh no.
Oh, okay. It'll pull away late.
Yeah, it'll be like 24-16.
Gotcha.
We'll be clenching our buttholes a little bit, and then they'll score a late touchdown or something. Maybe Minka will get a pick six or something like that. Like Kyler,
pick six.
Kyler. Here's the thing about Kyler. Kyler will run 40 yards behind the line of scrimmage, just around in circles to try and do something. But he holds the ball so far away from his body.
He does.
If you can swipe at it, you can get turnovers and make him do stupid shit with the ball.
Yeah.
He will take risks with the ball down the field because he thinks he's still at Oklahoma and is good enough to make plays. He's fast and quick and can cause us problems. I'm worried about him scrambling. I don't think he's good enough, though, to like scramble for a 60-yard touchdown, but he can definitely scramble for 20 yards on 3rd and 5 if we're playing man defense.
So, all right, so you've got, what did you say, 31-16?
31-16 Steelers.
All right.
Yeah, but
right.
yeah.
Scarps, what do you got?
It won't be easy, though.
Okay. All right. Scarps?
Yeah. I think that the Cardinals are going to put up some points this game. I really do.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the Steelers 27-23.
Holy jeez, that's a familiar score against the Arizona Cardinals, ladies and gentlemen.
Why not?
Wow. And I'll let you get the pipes ready for Casey Kasem. And Ben, what is your prediction? Ooh, deep thoughts by Jack Handy.
Yeah. Tomlin just seems to really love the low-scoring games this year.
Yes, he does.
I'm going to roll with 24-17 Steelers. So the over-under will be a push.
I'm concerned only because we've played back-to-back divisional games, both on the road. So I think we'll be glad to be at home, and I think we'll play well enough to get the dub. I'm going to go Steelers 23, Cardinals 13. That's what I'm going to go with. I agree with what Best Man is saying here. I think TJ will wreck some havoc back there a couple of times, and I know exactly what Ian and you guys are saying that Murray will turn the ball over. So I think I'm going to ride on that. But those are our predictions coming up this week. That's 4 Steeler victories, just for the record. And
for the record, Ryan actually picked the Steelers.
So. He did. And
for once.
And that is a perfect segue into the late, great Mr. Casey Kasem. Once again, joining the show, ladies and gentlemen. Casey?
Hater. Casey's Coast to Coast, American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was November 30th, 1986. Our favorite correspondent, Ryan, is once again back with us this week, and he writes, Dear Casey, very superstitious, writings on the wall. Very superstitious that you didn't see Jaylen Warren fumble that football. Casey, that's of course a parody of Stevie Wonder's Superstitious. Much like Stevie Wonder, Steelers wide receiver Diontae Johnson didn't see anything. Also like Stevie... Don't make Casey laugh. Also, like Stevie Wonder, Mike Tomlin didn't see that Diontae Johnson actually scored, but Mike Tomlin didn't challenge the play because, well, you know, why would he? In Johnson's post-game remarks, he said he didn't see Warren fumble. In Tomlin's post-game remarks, Tomlin said that he wasn't thoughtfully non-rhythmic about the situations that unfold inside stadiums, regardless of the nature of today's replay, and so forth. I don't know what that means. Hey, Diontae and Mike, I just called to say you're full of shit. The tape don't lie. Casey, before moving away from Stevie Wonder, I need to make another point. I'm sure you've heard by now that the Shaziers aren't doing so great.
Oh, God.
And there's nothing funny about that. But I did hear some positive news. Ryan Shazier is going to be getting his new girlfriend a gift this Christmas. Compliments of Stevie Wonder. That's right, Casey. He's getting her the digitally remastered version of Songs in the Key of Intercourse.
Is that butt sex?
As I mentioned earlier, the tape don't lie. and that tape showed Kenny Pickett looked like he might be a 7th-round steal. I can't believe the haters would even refer to Mr. Pickett as Mr. Irrelevant. My apologies. I was thinking of Brock Purdy, who leads the league in completion percentage, yards per attempt, yards per completion, passer rating, and QBR. But he'll never be as good as the Steelers' first-round pick of the 2022 NFL Draft out of the University of Pittsburgh. In all seriousness, Pickett showed improvement, which isn't hard to do when the bar is set that low. But nevertheless, Pickett isn't going to light up the scoreboard. He's not going to pad the stats. This isn't who he is. This is who the Steelers are, though. C'est la vie, Casey. Well, Ryan, you're in for a treat. Up 4 spots this week to number 17, and this one will eventually make its way up to number 2. Here's Robbie Neville with C'est la vie.
Wow. Man, 86. I was hoping for some kind of hairband, but I guess we'll take Robbie Neville.
Well, the charts this week, Mr. Steel Dad, just weren't aligning with my beliefs.
We're aligning properly. Hey, thanks so much, everybody, as always, for being here with us tonight. As we mentioned earlier, we are just thoroughly flattered and thrilled to have everybody here every single week. Doesn't matter. I think we could pretty much do this show at 2 a.m. on a Wednesday, and we'd still have everybody here. And that's a credit to you guys.
You guys rock.
Yes, you do. And make sure you check out the site, steelcityblitz.com. Check us out on Twitter at SCBlitz and, of course, at SCB_podcast. And we're all on there as well. And Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, even TikTok now, too.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Wherever he went, he was under the weather. Maybe still sobbing because of that loss.
I think best man is Aaron's burner.
It could be. Yeah. Anyway, thanks so much, everybody. Enjoy the game this week. Steelers, Cardinals, 1:00 on Sunday from the Steel City. And
we're on Tuesday next week.
That's right. We are on Tuesday next week with the Steelers playing
it's a Thursday game
on Thursday, so we'll be Tuesday next week. Anyway, have a great one, and don't forget, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.